Friends, welcome back. I am Jason, and we're discussing when the grid goes down, when the EMP strikes and it all goes black. There's a few items that you can still count on no matter what. Number one, hand tools. Good old-fashioned hand tools. Wrenches, sockets, hammers, hand saws, all of the things that get neglected because we have the fancy, more efficient power tools. Yeah, I love my drill. I love my impact driver and all of that. I like my tools that make my life more convenient and easy. However, if the big EMP should come bearing down upon us from the heavens and everything goes black, those types of tools potentially will no longer work. And we'll be having to go back to resort to more primitive means of fixing things. Now, along with that, we have to mention knowing how to use it. So, for example, here's a test. What is this? What is that called in the comment section? If you don't know what this is, you failed the test. And that means that you probably don't know how to use these types of tools. And it's not your fault. It's okay. It's not too late. There's no shame here. We're all friends. You just need to ask somebody and learn how to use things like that. You need to learn how to use that tool and things like it. I'm no expert. There's so many things that I don't know how to do. And when something like that pops up and I'm ignorant to the use of a tool or something, I could reach out to a buddy. I could reach out to someone in my community. And chances are, generally speaking, if someone's really, really good at something, like let's say a welder, and you reach out to them and you ask them questions about it, they're almost always so eager to share their knowledge and their skills because they're passionate about it. And they're just so happy that someone else is sharing in that passion. So it's easy. It's pretty easy almost always to get information, to gain access to the knowledge that these people have. Number two, a bicycle. Transportation is going to be at an absolute premium after the EMP comes down on us. Walking sucks. It takes forever. It's so slow and exhausting depending on where you live. It might be friggin' hot like it is today. It's so hot, so humid. Out here walking, lame. And where I live, it's hilly, it's steep, it's unpleasant. This crappy old bicycle that's 84 years old, this one right here, Beatrice, is at least at a minimum 3 times more efficient than walking. And this is a crappy old single-speed bicycle. If you had a better bike, something that would be a little bit more efficient, you could amplify that even more. So having an alternative means of transportation when the grid goes down, when your truck no longer runs, when your electric bicycle no longer works because the batteries you can't charge them up and the electronics have failed, having just an analog way of getting around is really helpful. Or get a horse. What are you doing in here, girl? Airing out my truck after the storm. We were camping out and it got a little wet and muddy in here, so I was letting it ventilate, and Maggie has made herself at home. Anyway, next thing on our list, now she's just going to move up to the front seat there. I see. Next thing on our list is going to be maps. Paper maps, like a map that you can actually hold, not a digital one on your phone. Yes, I use GPS all the time. I have a Gaia GPS app on my phone. I use Google Earth and all the things that you guys use, just like everybody else does. However, there may come a time when that's no longer an option. Do you know your way around without that? Do you have a map of at least your general area so you can kind of figure out what's what? So having paper maps, such as this one right here, right there in your vehicle, I think is always a good idea. The road atlases, that cover the whole United States, what are they called? Dang it, I'm going blank. In the comment section, tell me what those atlases are called. You can buy them at Walmart on the shelf and stuff like that, or at least you used to. Geez, I don't know. Hopefully you still can. Those are great. I had one of those in here, but I think it might be in my wife's car. So yeah, paper maps, really, really helpful so you can navigate your way around and learn how to use a paper map. It's very surprising to me how few people can actually look at a map and figure out what's what, and where to go and how to use the thing. I'm no expert by any means, but I can generally look at a map and figure out where I am and where I need to go and follow the lines, connect the dots between two towns perhaps and figure out the route. Is it always the most efficient? Is it going to be as efficient as your GPS that gives you the fastest way, fastest route? No, probably not. But, you know, it is what it is. The old ways, the old analog method is maybe not the most efficient, but it is definitely more reliable. There's a way to cook your meals, to cook your food. How the heck are you going to do that when the power goes out? If you're on propane, then maybe you got an option. You know, you can still cook with the gas that's flowing into your house. If the regulation of that flow into your home is controlled by the city in which you live in, that may not be an option because it's electronically controlled and all that stuff. Who knows what goes into that? But most likely, that's going to eventually stop flowing as well. If you've got your own propane tank at your house, that's going to eliminate some of those issues. But the old standby, the old backup, is just going to be a charcoal grill, you know? And I don't necessarily even have to have charcoal. The charcoal may run out eventually. I can literally just start a fire in this grill, in this fireplace right here. That's what it is. I can start a fire in there, let it burn down to a hot coal bed using some hardwoods, oaks and stuff around here. And I can cook on that just like we used to in the old days. I mean, even if you just cooking over a fire pit, you put a grate over it. Do you have any firewood? Do you have a way of collecting firewood? Do you have access to firewood? Do you have the tools to cut and saw and split and all the things? All stuff to be considered, but just think about how you're going to cook your meals after that EMP strikes. I like the solar panels, charging batteries and stuff. This solar lantern right here, you just sit it out. I keep one of these in the back of my truck and it just stays charged all the time. But potentially after that EMP, something like this with electronics in there may not work anymore. So just having literally candles or oil lanterns, something to give you a little bit of illumination to see into the darkness is going to be, man, it's going to be amazing. I mean, think about it. If the lights were to go out and you had nothing, you had no way of being able to see in the dark without your all your batteries and flashlights and all that stuff wasn't working anymore. Think about how that would affect your life. When the sun went down, life would stop, just the way it used to. When the sun went down, everybody kind of just tucked in for the evening, and we have our lives have drastically changed. You know, our rhythms, the timing of how we live our lives is so different now because of electricity. And while, you know, a huge grid down situation such as an EMP that left us without power for an extended period of time might force us back into that way of life, for the short term, we want to at least have ways of continuing our kind of normal way of life as it is now. So just having some backup candles, having some lanterns that you can light up your home with and be able to see in the dark is going to be really, really helpful and very comforting to the family for sure. Oh, and on top of that, ways to light that. I mean, do you have lighters? Do you have matches? All that stuff. If you only got one lighter floating around somewhere in the couch cushions or something, or under the seat of your truck, maybe you should stock up on that stuff. You know, that way when push comes to shove, we can still light those fires and we can light up those candles. Got me on my leg. Yowza. Must be some wasps or something in the gate. I don't know. Jerks. Anyway, what I was getting at before I was so rudely interrupted is security. You know, your motion sensing lights, your cameras, all that stuff could potentially go down. And we need to have the more traditional standard backup means of security, such as fences and gates. These are deterrents. While yes, I could just drive my truck and slam it through the gate, of course, I could hop over the fence. It's a deterrent. People are going to be less likely to want to come across this barrier. They don't want to have to exit their vehicles to do it. They don't want to have to damage their truck or whatever to try to slam through here, most likely. It's just a deterrent. It will keep a lazy bad guy moving on to an easier target. We never want to be an easy target. Like my dog Maggie. Maggie's going to be out here barking and making all kinds of noise, and that is a deterrent. Is she going to, rip someone's jugular out? Probably not. I mean, she would try. She would definitely try. She's bitten a lot of people. Oh, Maggie, she's known for her biting. She's not going to kill anybody probably, but she's definitely a deterrent, and she would slow somebody down, and she would keep somebody that would be up to some mischief moving on. And Maggie works even if the grid is down. Need to do a little maintenance on my well roof right there. It's looking a little not so nice. Water is next on my list here, guys. So I'm standing on top of my well. The well's about 300 feet deep, and we use an electric pump to pump the water from the earth into my home, where we can flush toilets, drink the water, take showers, all the things. If the power is out, that's no longer an option. So luckily, we have been able to install a hand pump that allows us to pull water from our well into our house, fill up the pressure tank, and as long as that pressure tank has water in it, we can still flush the toilets, wash some dishes, take cold showers, that kind of thing, and then refill the pressure tank by hand, which is really great. I haven't really had to use it much because the power hasn't been out for a really significant enough amount of time to really put that thing to work. I've tested it a few times. It works fantastic, but we haven't actually had to use it yet, thankfully. But how are you going to get water into your home? Where are you going to get your next drink of water when that EMP strikes? That's the question. If the answer is, I don't know, then you've got work to do. You've got some homework to do, because that's important. I mean, you won't last very long at all. Think about it. Water stops flowing into your house. 1 day goes by. 2 days go by. 3 days go by. What are you going to do? I mean, maybe you've got some bottled water on the shelf, How much of that do you have? How much water can you possibly store? How are you going to find a renewable source of water? Are you collecting rainwater? Is there a source of water somewhat near your home that you can collect, filter perhaps, through a Berkey or Sawyer Mini, Grails? Like, what are you going to do? What's your solution to this problem? That's what I'm getting at. Find a solution to your water problem if it should stop to flow. Hand pumps are fantastic, but not everybody has a well. If you live in a more urban area, a city, and you're on city water, and that water stops coming in, you need to have some sort of solution. Storing water, large quantities of water storage is difficult, especially if you're in some sort of apartment or something like that. It's really difficult to store large volumes of water because of how big and how heavy it is, specifically how heavy it is. So figure that out. Rain collection is always an option. Well, not always an option, but it's a great option. Filtration, water purifiers, all that stuff. Big pots to boil water in over a fire. All that kind of stuff is going to be really, really, really handy to have in this particular situation. Let's go back in time, you and I, back to, let's say, 1990. Not that far in the past, but let's go back to 1990. It was a good year. And we had a question. We wanted to know something. We were curious about a specific topic, and we wanted to find out more about it. What did you do? Well, you couldn't Google it. You couldn't just go hop on the internet and ask ChatGPT to give you all the info that you needed on this subject. You probably had to pull from your own library, or you had to go to a public library of sorts, ask the librarian, and find books on the subject that you were curious about. And I think that's important for us to have kind of our own collection of books, a broad spectrum of books on various different subjects, so we can pull from that knowledge. We can't keep everything up here. I mean, as much as I would like to have this like photographic memory and, be an encyclopedia, I can't do that. Maybe you can, maybe you've got that gift, but I don't. So having books, I think is really important, so we can learn about, if we have questions, we can find answers to them. And we have a community of friends that also has a library of their own. So if we have these questions, we can find answers to them. So maybe, and along those same lines, maybe we can't find the answer in a book. And that's where that community is important, because somebody knows something about the thing you're talking about. Somebody knows how to fix that part on that car or on that truck that you can't see. You can't really, you can almost reach it, but not quite. But he knows the trick on how to get to it, and you can't Google it anymore. So having a community of people makes you much, much stronger. It's a really valuable thing. Books and people. Friends, I hope that this has been somewhat thought-provoking, a stimulating topic of sorts. I want to know some more things that we can count on when the grid goes down, when the EMP strikes, when it all goes dark. What else can we count on? Leave that in the comment section. Please hit the thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. Feel free to leave a tip if you like these kind of videos. I'd be really grateful for it. Help support my small channel, my small business, and my family. There's links to everything in the description, in the comment section. You'll find everything there. And until next time, friends, what's the worst that could happen? Let's just go on 3.